out for you. So. From KK4GZQ over St. George.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Just thought I'd give you a little shot there. We were hearing you down in Tampa St. Pete this morning, and sounds like you had a good group there working. So we won't hang on to it and let you get back talking with Steve and the bunch. W3MMR here back at KK4GZQ. It's Wednesday. Hope you're having a great time up there at the beach.
We sure are having a good time together. Glad and using the fiberglass pole saw antenna support over here in this building. I haven't even taken the antenna down. Back up to Buffalo, New York. W3MMR in Florida.
W3MMR back. Go ahead, Steve. W2BMY. He's turned it over to you. W3MMR. I'm not hearing anything, Kevin. He was just bombing in here too. So if you guys don't mind, we'll pick it up. Let me make sure I got it. Alright, looks like I do have it. Anyway, I'm back. Just had to call my kid and wake him up. I have an 8-year-old. He lives in South Carolina, right outside of Charleston with his mother. Try to give him a FaceTime every morning. Wish him off to school and all. And I tell you what, technology makes, living apart from long distance relationships, whether it be with a kid or your significant other, makes things so much easier than they were, not that long ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. All I gotta do is pick up my phone, and I can see his face, and he can see me video chat right there on my cell phone. It's crazy to think how far technology has come. It sure is great. It makes it a lot easier, because obviously it's not easy living 1,000 miles away from an 8-year-old son, but it makes it much easier. So got that out of the way. I tried to do like I said, I try to do that every morning. Good morning to you, Bruce, KK4GZQ. I don't know how you're copying, but you had a pretty decent signal up here to the QTH in Chester, Pennsylvania this morning. Good to hear you, as always. And Kevin, good on the fishing. I saw the photos, and that's the thing about fishing. I guess unless you're really into it and out there fishing in tournaments and this, that, and the third, just being able to get out there on the water is as much fun as catching fish, and just catching fish is a bonus, So glad to see you're having a great time down there. I don't know how much longer you got. I forget how much time you say you're going to be down there. Maybe a week or so. So maybe you can let me know how much more time you got down there. And I'm sure you're not going to want to leave when that time is up. Anyway, it looks like you're having a blast, and I hope it continues to be fun for you. So I guess we'll take a pause, see if Steve, W2BMY, is back. And go ahead and pick it up, Kevin. W2 W3MMR. And if you're not there, KK4GZQ. And the phone W3MMR.
W3PP.
I know I heard Tim in there, WA1HLR. I believe I heard Tim.
Yeah, guys, your engine off, I think. Yeah, I don't know if Tim's hearing you down there in Florida, Kevin. But Tim, Kevin, KK4GZQ is portable, running about 25 watts out of Florida. Let me turn it over to Bruce, KI4HHT. Let me stand by, W3MMR. Anyway, over to you, Tim, I guess. W1HLR and W3MMR.
Yeah, how you doing there, Perry? I gotta retune a bit here. And keep the amplifier out. There we go. Out of curiosity, how well are you hearing me this morning?
You very good. You're about 25 over this morning.
Okay. Well, I could probably tell somebody's home. What's that? That looks Kevin operating portable in Florida. I could barely hear him in there. You know, not well enough to copy, so probably not going to stick around here that long. Probably slide off to 05 where I've been hanging out in the mornings. I'll say good morning on the way around. Now, what can I say? It's another day in the hood, and where's it go from here?
I'll pick it up, Tim, and then I'll send it back down to Kevin. Good hearing you, Tim, and we'll catch up with you. Catch up with you a little bit later. I'm off today, so I'll be around the shack most of the day here, messing around, trying to get a 160 situation figured out here. Probably going to lay out some ground radios today, so got a couple thousand feet of 18 gauge wire in the mail the other day, and so we're going to get started with that project as long as the weather holds out, and I think it's going to. So best 7-3 to you, Tim. We'll catch up with you a little bit later on. Back down to you, Kevin. KK4GZQ, portable 4 in the beautiful state of Florida. W3MMR.
W3MMR with WA1HLR on the side there. Good morning, Tim Con, KK4GZQ down in the what they like to call the armpit of Florida, where the peninsula meets the panhandle, right in the corner of Florida here. Pretty close. And Tim, Perry, I'm getting a good copy on Tim. He was F9 plus, probably plus 5, maybe 10 over a couple of times. But 100% copy on Kevin. I wish I could have all the way out
Yeah, all right, Kevin. I had the volume muted there for a second. I think somebody, I don't know if that was Tim, jumping in there real quick. But nevertheless, I guess maybe Bruce got out of there. 7-3 to you, Bruce. But what was I going to say? Where's my notes? Very good on the copy on Tim. Yeah, Tim was 25-30 over here into the SDR to my non this morning. He's always has a good signal down this way, especially when the band starts to go a little long. In the evenings, 4 or 5 o'clock when I'm doing most of my operating with the guys in Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts. Normally everybody's 30, 40, sometimes 50 over, and Tim is down around 10 over. But as soon as that band starts stretching out a little bit, I mean, Tim comes up and he comes way up. I mean, 40, 50 over, puts a heck of a signal into my receiver here. And that's the situation this morning. The band stretched out a little bit, and he is just bombing in here this morning. I think he's scooting down to 3705, where the other AM crew hangs out down there. Once I get my extra, I'll be headed down that way. I keep procrastinating. My father keeps beating in my head about getting my extra because him and a group get on 3745 on sideband in the mornings, and I'm friends with all the guys that he talks to, and chat back and forth, whether it be on Facebook Messenger or on DMR, and I'll listen in down there, and I'll be texting back and forth with like my father and the guys in the group, kind of chiming in via text, and I haven't had the time to study, number one, and number two, get over to New Jersey and take the test. So it's on the list of things to do. But good on the long contacts to Washington State. That's a heck of a feat, running the power that you're running and the compromised antenna setup. I guess it has a lot to do with where you're at and where you're located, Kevin. You have a definitely, I guess, you're surrounded by all the salt water. It has a heck of an effect, and it just seems like the band this morning's a little bit on the loud side. My noise floor is usually down to, as of late, it's been around a little bit below an S9, around minus 75 dBm, and this morning it's about an S unit higher, a little over an S9, at about minus 70 to minus 71 dBm. On the Anon this morning, so it is a little bit higher. So I don't know if that's Tim's experiencing the same thing up there. But I have you Q5 in the Georgia web SDR this morning with some selective fading, but I can get the gist of what's going on and what you're saying there. So back down to you, Kevin. I'll stick in here for one more, and I'm gonna go grab me a bite to eat and get this wire all prepared and start laying out some ground rails when the sun starts peeking over the horizon, and get out there before I lose motivation. Back down to you, Kevin. KK4GZQ portable 4 from W3MMR. Okay, stick around for a few. Back to you, WA1HLR, W3MMR.
Is Kevin still with us, or was he signing as well?
No, he's still with us. He's listening out.
Is he even hearing me?
Oh, he's hearing you. All right.
Oh, you, Kevin, it's too bad. One band that we could work on during the day is 20 meters, and from time to time I do get up on 20 meters around 4 in the afternoon if I'm around. On AM, that is, at the top of the band.
I couldn't make out what you were saying, unfortunately. So back up to you, Tim. Yeah, I'd like to work you on 20 meters. I wonder if we could work on 20 meters or if we're too close. Anyway, back up to you, Tim. WA1HLR, W3MMR.
Trying my best with the FX62, which is a very wide receiver, to receive Kevin. I did add a fourth selectivity position to it, which narrows it up to a little bit closer to a typical communications receiver bandwidth. And then I have 3 different positions with the audio. Position 1. There's a bit of bass boost and a bit of upper mid-range and treble boost, with fixed value components. The second position is an audio low-pass filter from a T368, and the value of coupling capacitor going into the filter cartridge for wind to begin to roll off around 150 cycles. So it's a gradual roll off. It's not a brick wall drop. So in that way, the receiver is basically like that of your typical communications receiver. It's not great audio, but it's okay. And then the third position is truly vacuum expansion, where I have a very narrow band pass filter from 300 to about 3,000. That drops like a rock on either side of those points. And I can generally pull very piss-weak signals out of the noise that are totally buried in the noise when I have in a wider selectivity position and have the audio in full metal jacket enhanced mode, which is where I like to run it. Well, I have a number of questions about your 160 meter or your antenna situation. From what I remember, you're using dipole, 75 or 80 meter dipole or whatever, fed with open wire line.
Well, I'm using basically an 80 meter dipole. It's 125 foot, 125 feet of wire up there, fed with 600 ohm open wire line. And what I was going to do was, what was suggested, since I can't get any more wire in the air, was to hook it up as a long wire. Short both ends out, hook it up to the long wire post on the tuner, and then put out as many ground radials as I can. That was the plan. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, you have a number of different options. So you have 125 feet of wire up. Is it a flat top or is it an inverted V style?
It's in an inverted V. The apex is about 60 feet, and either end is about 15 feet off the ground.
Okay, I guess you're pretty limited to those dimensions. You can't add any more wire. Is that it?
No, this is it. I can't add any more. It's literally stretched from one corner of my property all the way to the other corner, and I can't get it up any higher. I can't get the ends up, any higher to droop down, to let some wire droop down either. So pretty much what I got up there is what I got up there, and I'm kind of limited to what I got.
Okay. So you're basically going to lay a bunch of radials like a spokes of a wheel and tie the feeders together and work it against land?
Correct. Yeah, correct. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that'll work. The question is does your open wire feed come right down into the ham shack, or does it have to go?
No, it comes right down. Comes right down and in to a feed-through panel in the window, and then another short piece of open wire feeder to the back of the tuner.
Okay, what gauge is the open wire line? I take it you made it.
It's well, no, I didn't make it actually. I bought it. It's 16 gauge. I know it's a little on the light side, but it is 16 gauge.
Is it the so-called window line?
No, it's 600 ohm open wire line. There's a guy in Florida who builds it. TrueLadderline.com, and it's 4-inch spaced. Well, maybe a little less than 4 inch. I can't remember. 4-inch spaced open wire line, but it is 16 gauge.
Now, as far as antenna testicle instruments, do you no-code junk SWR analyzer?
Yeah. MFJ 989C. I think it's the C. Yeah, 989C.
All right. Do this. Take the open wire feeders, connect to the tuner, and connect up to the no-code junk box, and sweep it down around 160 meter band. 60 feet or so, about 60 feet of open wire feed, and 125-foot radiating surface, you'll probably hit resonance, either in or below or above the 160 meter band. I'm curious what that point is.
Okay, I can do that. I'll do that, and I'll let you know this evening, or for the next time we cross paths at some point today. I didn't think of it. I never thought about doing that. I never thought about using the analyzer with the open wire feeder. I was just, it just never crossed my mind, being I'm not using coax. So that's a good idea. I'll do that. W3MMR.
You see, you can have a situation where the length of wire in the feed line can become, as a unit, can become resonant, as a primary resonance. And, a quarter wavelength feed line on this band plus a half wavelength of radiating surface, typically you may find a current resonance in the 160 meter band. You make note of the frequency. When you hit resonance, your resonance resistance will be quite low. It might be 10 or 12 ohms or 14 ohms or something like that. That's how you know when you hit resonance, is when the little needle that indicates impedance or resistance drops to its lowest value. That is system resonance. And say, for argument's sake, if the system resonance falls, say at 1900, right in the middle of the band, or right near the 1885 AM window, you have to build an antenna tuner. And you use series tuning, not parallel, but series tuning. I take it you're using, a no-code junk antenna tuner that's basically a T-network into a Ballon?
Yeah, that's what I have in line now. I haven't been using that. I've been using a Ten-Tech 238. I just put a new roller inductor, nice air core inductor in the MFJ 989. What is it? MFJ 989C. Didn't I say that was what the analyzer was? I'm an idiot. But I do have an analyzer, but it's a different number. I'm sure you probably know what it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, I do have an MFJ tuner in line right now. The reason being, this tuner will tune the antenna how I have it hooked up right now. It's down to a flat match on 160, but obviously it's not going to be that efficient. So I just had this antenna tuner in line for testing purposes, just to test out that inductor. But I was going to put my Ten-Tech tuner back in line. Over.
Well, here are the facts. Balance. I would imagine the Ten-Tech tuner is pretty much the same thing as the Mofo junk tuner, where you have roller inductor. It's basically a T network. You have inductor and a balance, right?
There's no roller inductor in the Ten-Tech tuner. It says 2 air capacitors, and then you have a switch, high, low, or high Z and low Z sides of a switch in the middle of the two. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head the type of tuner. I'm sure you know what it is, obviously, but I could look it up real quick. But yeah, like I said, it's got two air core capacitors, and then in the middle it's got the switched in. You can switch in the capacitance. It's got five positions on either side.
Yeah, well, generally. Most of those tuners, you have a variable inductor of some sort, be it a roller or a tapped inductor. You can't just match with over a wide range of frequencies with a capacitor. So typically, most of these ham-bone tuners are a variable inductor of some sort, and at least 2 air variable condensers that can be set up in various modes to handle a certain range of impedances. But the thing about a balance do not like weird impedances, and they don't like reactance. What I mean by reactance is a situation that's totally non-resonant. In other words, if the antenna and the feed line don't add up to being resonant, where it'll behave like either there be an inductor or a capacitor in parallel with the antenna load impedance at the antenna tuner. And any antenna is going to be reactive at dead nuts resonance, and it all depends on how well the tuner deals with the reactance. The typical T network into a balance. You're not going to match, but you're actually burning up a fair amount of power in the balance. I've got a so-called 1500 watt Mofo junk antenna tuner up on the hill that was given to me, and that's a tapped inductor and a couple of air variables and a balance. I don't use the balance. I have experimentally into certain antenna scenarios. And even though I can get a match, that ballon runs real hot. So you're burning up some power. That was with the BC610B, which is about 250 or 300 watts. And if I left it keyed down for a while, I probably would have killed the ballon for certain antenna experiments I was doing. So, I'm sure you've probably heard of the Jinxton Matchbox or Johnson Matchbox. That is truly a balanced line tuner, and that might work quite well with what you got there. Are you familiar with the Johnson Matchbox?
I have one. I have a kilowatt matchbox up on the shelf, but one of the capacitors was arcing. It was sitting out in my father's barn for 25 years, and I said, I'm taking this before we throw it out, because we were cleaning out the barn and it was about to get tossed. So I took it back, and, I cleaned it up. But one of the capacitors started to arc at low power too. I mean, I'm not putting a ton of power into it. I was tuning up at about, and before I could even get the full power, I was probably throwing an 800 watt carrier before I could get to full power, and it started to arc. But it didn't seem to arc, when I wasn't tuning, just sitting here keyed down at a 200 watt carrier, but I put it back on the shelf, and I was going to take the capacitor apart and try to buff out the arc marks and the high spots and try to get it to get it back to working again. But I do have one, and I'm an idiot, Tim. It's early. It's for me. I don't know why I don't know why I said what I said about that 10-tech tuner, but you're right. It has a variable capacitor, has a roller inductor, and then it has switched in. You could switch in different capacitances. So I was looking into. My father had sent me some information on like a measure style balance tuner build that I was thinking about building. And was starting to actually accumulate parts for. But the problem is I'm having a hard time finding two of the same roller inductor. Finding a pair of them. I mean, I could find one, of one. Of one value, and then I find another one of another inductance, and I'm having a hard time finding two of the exact same roller inductors. So that's why I haven't built one yet. But that's where I'm at with that. W3MMR.
W3MMR. Okay, on the Rick Measures tuner. Comments about that design. But out of curiosity, will the Johnson Matchbox, is it the little one, the 275 watt one, or is it the big one? A little GX100.
Oh, it's the big one. No, it's a kilowatt matchbox. It's not the little guy.
Okay, I imagine you've had the thing opened up.
Yeah, it cleaned up good. I mean, the thing looks, cosmetically looks like it's in great shape. But like I said, I just had a problem with the one capacitor arcing. But besides that, I mean, the thing's in very condition.
Okay, well, there's two capacitors. One that says tuning and the other matching. The matching is what you call a dual differential capacitor. Was that the one that was arcing, or was it the tuning you kept?
It was the matching cap. It was the matching cap that was arcing.
Okay. Yep. Well, that's a critical part of the tuner. So if you clean that thing up, Johnson Matchbox, if you have a length of field line plus the antenna that it's happy with, you can probably get a match on all bands from 80 on up through 10. And if the match is reactive, particularly capacitively reactive, the matchbox doesn't like to deal it very well, and you can kind of force, you can kind of feel on the edge of a match, and the thing tunes sharply. You can build up some very high peak villages in the tuner, but there's a way of dealing with that. Chris JBL and I have discussed, which is you have an external box that's got a roller inductor and an air variable capacitor and a switch to go between air. So in one mode, you have an air variable that you put in parallel with the output. The balanced out or an inductor, so that if the antenna is capacitively reactive, you can use the inductor to tune it out, so to speak. And the same thing if the antenna is capacitive, you use the inductor, and if it's inductive, you use a capacitor. I've done that here. I've got a kilowatt flash box on my 40-meter dipole. And the 40-meter dipole is fed with open wire. It's only up about 30 feet. Right now, it's set up on 20 meters. Kevin GZQ. Daytimes from Maine to Florida, the propagation is very good, and I've been hanging out in the upper reaches of 20 meters around 14,340, 330. There's this Eustace's Tits on a Bull so far YLNet on 14,332 that's there all damn day. It's mostly guys. Every once in a while you hear a few female voices in there backing away, but most of the time it's old buzzard guys, So when that net is propagating in, I'll drift down around 14,327, 328, somewhere around there, either that or I'll go up to 340, maybe as high as 345, and that's about the limit. Because the top end of the band in many cases is fairly quiet. There's some Ola gang slump bucketeers that get on there in the afternoon a bit, but then when they're done and gone, it's pretty quiet. Pretty quiet. So there you go. Well, getting back to the 163. You have to use their coupler tuner designs. I like using link coupling. It's tried, it's true, it's really old buzzard. You can build the thing on a wooden floor. And you use series tuning where you'd have with the inductor rather than in parallel. The series tuning is for very low impedances. And I always thought it was cool where you could take a 75-meter dipole with the correct length of open wire line and use series tuning and get a good match on a 160. Thing is, with a shortened antenna that's only a quarter wavelength total length, you shall have much higher voltages at the ends. So they have to have good low-loss insulators. And then towards the current portion of the line, which is at the bottom end where it's tied into the tuner, you'll probably want that 16-gauge wire. It'll probably get noticeably worn with a couple hundred watts. My 40-meter dipole is made up of number 10 copper-clad steel that I made up. And I dinked with a Johnson matchbox, dink with it. I could not get it to couple into the antenna. So I experimented with various padding capacitors and other things. It just would not work. I hooked the Mofo Junk SWR analyzer up to the feeders as they come into the back of the tuner. Now, obviously, disconnecting the tuner, I found the resonant point was at 4.2 megs, noticeably well outside the band. Well, being that the fundamental resonant frequency is there, what happens when you're down in frequency? It becomes capacitively reactive, quite capacitively reactive. And how do you take care of the capacitive reactance? You use an inductor right across the feeders. Actually, what I did is I took the Mofo Junk SWR analyzer and the center conductor of the SO239 that I tied to one of the feeders of the open wire going to the 40-meter dipole, and the case ground I clip leaded to one end of this inductor, and then from the other leg of the open wire line I had a clip lead and a little screwdriver and set the Mofo Junk box to 3850, and then move that screwdriver up and down the inductor, and then I hit the resonant point. When you hit the resonant point, the resistance, the load impedance will drop to an extremely low value. Okay, now it wasn't on the so that is what you would want to use. I wound up cutting off the rest of the inductor that wasn't being used, and the inductor I was using came out of some friend's homebrew transmitter. That's it's either number 4 or number 2 gauge solid copper wire. Really heavy sheath mount. And so then, having done that, I hooked the output to the Johnston flash box right across the coil. Now what's going on here is in the middle of that circuit is where the very low impedance actually exists, the real current point. And then across the inductor, your impedance is a lot higher. In other words, the leg of the open wire feeders as it's connected to the inductor. So now we're up to an impedance that the Johnston flash box wants to deal with. And the dual differential capacitor just acts like, a variable coupling capacitor. And therefore it doesn't have a huge... So the well without any modification. Flat match from about 3,800 to a little higher than 3,900 in this case. Alright, problem is the 160 dipole that I use for local work is in close proximity. When I go between the 160 dipole and the 40-meter dipole on 75, I'm about 10 to 20 dB down. If I I detune the 160 dipole, I come within an F unit of the dipole, according to the dipole. So you can do the same thing on 160. You know, there's many options in getting design a tuner. It's an interesting concept because, like I was saying, balance don't like lateral cadences and they don't like it. So all these handy-handled tuners tend to put the cart before the horse. And that is putting the ballon on it. And there's if you have the ballon on the roof where the RF from your transmitter goes in the ballon. And then the ballon goes to the balance matching network to the antenna. The tuner circuit takes care of the impedance and reactance of the ballon. What the ballon sees is clean and green and an impedance that it wants to deal with. So it works efficiently. But with his design, and what I've seen, it's kind of like a double L, where you have from each leg of the ballon, you have two roller inductors and together, and then you have an amperage juncture right across from leg to leg on the output going to the feeders. That's all coming well if the impedance is fairly high. But if the impedance is wicked low, it's not going to work very well. You won't be able to get a match correctly, an efficient match. So what you'd have to do would be to go the series tuning where you have two identical air variables that are in series with the inductors going to the feeders. And that should work really, really well. That should work well. So, here's the thing. You put out your radios and you work your open wire feeders tied together against ground. You basically have an antenna that, you know, there's so many variations where it may, locally, it might not have a good signal. You get some distance into the equation, like, say, working up here. Now, 160, I'm far enough away to where you probably won't hear me very well with what I use as an antenna at this point. And I might not hear you very well at all until, you know, much later on, like at least 2 or 3 hours after sunset. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. So, when you use your antenna as a balance, as we call it, a ridiculously shortened doublet, a dipole per se means 1/2 wavelength of wire, center fed. A doublet, and I'm sure you've heard the word doublet. Doublet pertains to a nondescript vertical ladder that's fed at the center. So, like for argument's sake, you had enough room and you burst up a ring of that center fed. It will work easily as well as a dipole works on 75 on 40 meters. It is approaching that of what is known as a double extended ZEP antenna, which is 5/8 wavelength of wire either side center. 3 dB of gain over a dipole, but a fairly sharp pattern. Yeah, I'm just using all these examples, you know, terminology you've probably heard, but it looks like I'm the old bugger that's in total balance on the younger person there. So there you go, Harry. W3MMR from WA1HLR.
WA1HLR. WA1HLR from W3MMR. Well, that's all great information, Tim. I appreciate you taking the time to educate me, because I've obviously heard of a double extended ZEP. I've heard of I know a little bit about the link couple tuning and the Rick Measures tuner, but to get the ins and the outs of each one and the pros and the cons, and to get your opinion on this stuff is pretty much priceless. And I recorded this QSO to go back and for reference, kind of like I did before back when I was restoring my DX100 and had some questions on that, and we had a pretty good conversation about that, and I was able to archive that QSO so I can go back and take it all in, which is what I'll do again with this. What was I going to say? I had a feeling that this wire, with a 16 gauge wire, would be a little bit on the light side, and I was talking to Billy BTK about it, and he was basically saying the same thing about the same thing you were saying about the low loss insulators and the high current, and on at the tuner side, close to the tuner there, and maybe things getting warm. Speaking of things getting warm, with this MFJ tuner, even after long buzzardy transmissions, the balun doesn't really get hot. The only thing that ever got warm was the roller inductor. The original roller inductor, which isn't an air core roller inductor, I mean, that thing would get almost so hot, Tim, you couldn't touch it. And I mean, I had everything tuned correctly. I know you tune for the lowest amount of, you want to use the lowest amount of inductance that you can. And everything was tuned correctly. It's just the thing would get so damn hot. But the balun never really got hot. It would get a little warm, but nothing, to think that there was any kind of issue. And it hasn't gotten warm yet here this morning, but I haven't made any really long transmissions. This is probably the longest one all morning. But luckily I have a few options here, and I will get the matchbox taken apart and take that capacitor apart and see if I can hopefully salvage that capacitor, which I think I should be able to. I did what I could, with it in the thing, with it in the enclosure, with it on the chassis, and without taking it apart. But I don't want to go in there and try to get between the plates and bend things, and so it's maybe better to just take the extra time to take it apart. And do it correctly and do it right the first time. It would just suck if I went in there and did all that work, took the damn thing apart, and I put it back together and the thing still arcs. But hey, I guess that's part of the hobby and the part of the business we're in. So still sounding good, real good down here, Tim. Sounded fine, big signal still. But I'm anxious to get it up, get it on 160. Like I said, I've been listening down there a lot, and I would like to get down there with you guys. I know Rob's N1ALF is having a ball on 160. And one of the main reasons, I don't want to be left out. Everybody's, not everybody, but everybody who has a 160 antenna, when the band goes long here, and I'm like, all right, we're going to 160. And, I kind of feel like I'm standing on the sidelines and I didn't get picked for the kickball team. And the only thing about a link couple tuner, Tim, that I didn't was kind of, you know, was holding me back about it was, you know, how fast I could tune, you know, when jumping from band to band, because I work 20 meters, you know, I do a lot of DXing on 20 and 40, and do sideband work on 20 and 40, and I'm going up and down the band, and obviously I'm here on 75 meters, and would be getting on 160, so I'm bouncing all over the place. For 10 meters, I have a 4-element Yagi on 10 up on the roof, but you know, I'd probably be possibly on 17. I've used this antenna on 17 meters. It does fairly well. I've used it on 30 meters. So, you know, I'm bouncing around a lot. And, you know, with the link couple tuning and the alligator clips, it just, they'd always, you know, always kind of turn, not put a sour taste in my mouth, but it was the, you know, one of the things, you know, just the ease of tuning and tuning speed and not having to mess with, you know, clip leads and such, which is why I kind of shied away from it. But I don't have one. I've never used one. So maybe I'm just talking myself out of something that I don't know about. And you can, you know, switch bands, you know, relatively fast. And then you could, you know, with those, right, you could roll your own inductor. So I remember, I think, who was it he was talking about? I know it was you. I don't know if it was you and Chris or and Dave EW the one night talking about winding your own inductors and making your own tapped inductors. I can't remember. But anyway, so the Johnson Matchbox is on the to-do list. Maybe we'll do that on Sunday when the next day off I have, because I want to get these ground radios out today. That's the project for today, but maybe Sunday we can start working on that Matchbox again and try to get that thing back in working order or working condition. And then maybe I won't need to build a tuner. But I want to build a tuner because it's a project. It'd be a cool project, you know. So now it's just so many things to do, Tim, in so little time. Anyway, I'm going to make this my last one, Tim. I got to get something to eat, man, but I'll listen out. But I got to get something in my stomach. I've been up since 5 and haven't eaten yet. Haven't eaten anything but coffee. So, great talking to you this morning. Thank you very much for all the great information. It's always a pleasure. And we'll talk to you a little bit later on, Tim. But like I said, I'll listen out. I'll still be here. But we're going to say 7-3, and we'll talk to you a little bit later on. WA1HLR from W3MMR.
Very, very good. Yeah, I got to do the same. I've been up since 5 as well. Just had a cup of bean, and stomach is grumblous, you know. And probably going to put something together and eat it, you know. That'll be my modus operandi. Yeah, well, what will be interesting is when you get, you know, all the radios down with that number 18 wire and a good solid connection to the center. I imagine you're going to be putting those radios under the antenna. That's what you want to do, is you have them all underneath the antenna. If you don't, the field between the antenna and the dirt and the earth underneath, the earth is a lossy dielectric. It burns power up. But if you have a real conductive, you know, near field ground, things will be that much more efficient. And also, when using center fed. It'll work that much better. But, you know, it's best to be able to try either thing, and I think what you'll find out is close in a local work within 100, 150. The balance scheme will be that much better. And then working up here, you'll probably find that the working against ground will work better. So that gives you options. Yep. I've talked to Rob on a few occasions, and that's all he's using is an 80-meter dipole. But he's doing it a little differently where I don't know if it was Chris JBL or Dave W3MMR came up with it. And E2 is an 80-meter dipole, so with open wire line, but it's definitely shorter. I think it's 40 feet or 45 feet long rather than 60. So the antenna is an inductor was wound up that went right across the feeders, and then a length of ladder line from the feeders where the inductor was paralleled up, run a ways to the ham shack where the tuner is. So essentially what that inductor does is it cancels out the capacitive reactance at that point, but the impedance is fairly high. So the ladder line from there, the tuner, remains at a high impedance, assuming that, you know, it's not that far from the characteristic impedance of the line, so therefore the losses are very low. And Rob does all right for what he has. He does well because typically a short antenna like that is just, there's no way you'll get exactly equal performance to a full-size dipole. But if you look at the theory, assuming that, you know, it's above perfectly conductive ground like salt water, and it's up at a reasonably good height, and your insulators are very low loss, you know, in terms of dielectric losses, because you will have very high voltages on the antenna, particularly at the end, and, you know, really, open wire line out of, say, number 8. I'm saying for argument's sake, good heavy shit. That'll take care of the current losses. Then you get out a little ways and the impedance rapidly comes up, so therefore the amount of RF current is that much less flowing in the conductor. This would be the number 16 gauge wire, so that would, you know, all these little things, they all add up. So, but, you know, the Junction Flashbox is a true link-coupled tuner. They just use their own bizarre method of matching, which there are ways to make it better, but the thing to do is to get that arcing problem fixed and then try it out. And, you know, it's like with a 40-meter dipole. I use that thing on 75, 40, 20, 17 meters. 40-meter dipole is a double extended ZEC on 17. It's a gain antenna, and mine is broadside right down the coast of Florida. It works very well. And, you know, 15 meters and 10. 12, it doesn't like it because on 12 meters it's rather reactive, and I haven't done anything to make it work on 12 meters. That has a half-ass match on the Good Buddy band. So there you go. That's the story, Perry. And I'm glad to have given you some inspiration. Put your hands on the radio. Yeah, recording is a good thing because it becomes like an audio book where you can go back and just, I've spewed out a lot of details, and it probably is difficult to follow it all. So when recorded, you can play it back and probably get something more out of it each time you listen until you're sick of listening to it. But in regard to homebrew link coupled tuners with clip leads. The clip leads are just used to set things up, so you get a feel for it. If you're going to build a link coupled tuner, when you go to Hamfester, you look around for various fairly healthy multi-section ceramic band switches, so to speak. And that's one thing I enjoyed doing. I think I was younger than you. And I built up a tuner, and it's actually in two sections. That did 160 on up through 10 meters. I had one section that did 160, 80, 40, and another section that did 20 on up through 10. It would barely handle a kilowatt. It handled my 41000 rig. And I was able to rig it up with another functional switch to either set up for either series or parallel tuning. In fact, I used that tuner to couple into my 40-meter dipole, the exact same 40-meter dipole that I still have that I made almost 50 years ago that's hanging up here. And that's when the feed line was a little longer, so it was resonant. But I could get a good match on 75 with it. So, with bands, with all these switches, you can pretty well, when tuning dials that have scales, so you just have a little tuning chart for presets. So you just preset it all, and there you go. And that makes it work. It makes it easy. Another thing to look around for are these reasonable size double pole, double throw knife switches, or maybe the 3-pole double throw ones. You can use that from your open wire line for switching between various tuners. So who knows, maybe for 160 you may wind up rolling together a tuner. You go to the Home Depot or someplace like that and get some scrap pieces, a 3-inch PVC pipe and some number 12-2 Romex of a given length, get a 50-foot length, and bring that home and take the utility knife and slit the throat of the thing, as far as the jacket. And then you have 50 feet of white insulated wire and 50 feet of black insulated wire and 50 feet of bare copper wire. So that can be the basis for constructing a coil. The only problem are the air variable condensers. Those are Hamfester items. Right? I don't know. I imagine there's quite a few on ePay, but they probably want an arm and a left nut for them. I'll see you later, Perry. W3MMR from WA1HLR is out.
All right, Tim. Again, thanks for all the great information, man. I appreciate it. Really, really tired. Thank God I'm off today. So I can go lay my head back down after I eat. Anyway, 7-3 to you, Tim. We'll talk to you a little bit later on. WA1HLR, W3MMR, 7-3 for now.
Yeah, I'll see you later, Perry, and hello, Jack.